Hello, guys. Oh, my voice is awful. Trying to let YouTube catch up. And this iPad. Okay, who can hear me? Am I too loud, too quiet? Why is this not? There we go. Well, I guess I can't use that because it won't. Am I echoing to you guys? Why am I echoing on it to me? Oh, because I have Discord open. Jeez. I'm a professional, you guys. Anyway, how is everybody? Let's see. Get caught up. Okay. Good grief. Okay, now I'm not echoing in my ears. Oh, does everybody hate their voice when they hear it, like on an answer machine or whatever? It drives them nuts. Yes, I am echoing still. What I do? What I do? No, that's not it. Whatever, I can deal with it. Anyway. Okay, I have not been here since 2nd of January. It's been a hot minute. I kind of went into hibernation. Um, kind of depressed. Wasn't fun. You guys can't hear my fan, can you? Okay, let's see who's here first, and then I'll start yakking. Hi, Kathy. Let's scroll top. Who we got? StreamYard's here. Karen, Rotary Dial. I actually don't even need earbuds in because I ain't talking to anybody but you. I don't have to hear myself. Who else is here? Flame Lily, Carla, Sandy Lee. My goodness, you guys, it's been crazy. Stephanie. Sandy, me, Kathy, Flame Lily, Lori Joe. Um, Katie, Jennifer, Laura Nelson, good last name. Jennifer. A whole lot more people showed up than I thought would. Um, so, apparently, when you're on a ventilator, one of the side effects after you come off it is depression. And this is the second time I've been on a ventilator. First time, did not have it. This time is absolutely debilitating. Um, my anxiety is awful. The depression is awful. And I just couldn't do it. I haven't kept up with true crime. I've tried a couple of times. It made the depression worse. To hear bad stuff just made it worse. Except for the news that Mark Means is off the case. That one was a good one. So, I look really, really pale. I've been sick for, I think, since I got out of the hospital the week before November, I've been sick every other week. And I'll stay sick for like 2 weeks at a time. It's It's really irritating. COVID hit the house again. So people in my house got COVID twice since September. Um, that was really, really hard because it scared me to death. I thought if I get this again, I'm still not good from my first round, you know? So I had to deal with that. Um, and so I kind of tucked into my turtle shell. Um, I didn't talk to anybody for about 3 weeks. No physical therapist, not a nurse, not a doctor. I didn't call my mom. Um, I wasn't on Discord. I didn't check my email. Um, I just stopped, and it didn't help. So, if you're watching this and you ever get depressed like this, shutting everybody out's not going to help because I tried it for an extended period of time and it did not help. So, um, after all that, I kind of thought, okay, well, let's try the opposite. Let's jump back in the deep end of the pool and just fake it till you make it, you know? I've been looking at some true crime stuff and I'm like, I really debated shutting down my YouTube channel. I mean, just really cutting everything off. Um, and I kind of took my own advice. Most of you guys, I guess everybody here knows, I had a different channel before this one, and it was called Know Better, Do Better. And I did like life lessons and motivational kind of stuff. And um, one piece of advice that I've always given people is never make a permanent decision with temporary feelings. And so um, I said, okay, that's stupid. I talked to my husband about it, and he was like, if it's stressing you out that much or causing not stress, but like the anxiety that I get before I do a live now is really weird. It's not that bad today because I told myself I was going to do it whether I liked it or not. And he gave me the okay. And so when he said it was okay for me to do it, I kind of got stubborn and was like, this is stupid. I can do this. You know, I'm not like on TV or anything. I don't even have 2,000 subscribers. And you guys are my friends, you know. I come on here and I talk to you guys, and I always feel better after I get started, and I feel a lot better after it's over. So I didn't want to quit. So here I am. What have you guys been up to? I know Sandy Lee had surgery. I talked to her a couple of times. I haven't seen Linda on here yet. She emails me, and when I don't email her back, she calls my house. She's like, what is going on? And, you know, I talked to her for a while. I talked to her for a long time. And she made me feel better. She did. Made me feel better. And I thought, well, if I restart this and really do it, we'll see how it goes, you know? So, do I look different? I am now 39 years old. Friday was my birthday, or as I call it, the 10th anniversary of my 29th birthday. This went through me for a loop. I've never, like, even when I turned 30, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm 30. But this time it's like, this is the last year of my 30s. And it kind of threw me for a loop. It was horrible. I had a horrible birthday this year. It was just bad. But it's my depression, my anxiety. I was sick all week, throwing up, GI issues, all that kind of fun stuff. Not contagious. Nobody else in the house had it. Didn't have a fever. Have no idea what it was. Not a clue. But we just keep getting whatever it is. The boys' school shut down for illness. They had so many kids out, they shut the school down for a week and a half. But it seems like every time they go, I've got 2 boys still in school, 2 boys have jobs, and Dan works. And it feels like every time they go, they come home and I'm sick. Like it's all the time. So something's got to give. I'm taking vitamins like crazy. I'm taking all kinds of like immunity stuff. It's just my immune system is shot. It's like giving me a break. I need to live in a bubble. Thanks, Flame Lily. What else was I going to tell you guys? Oh, so I guess this is more like a life update because I don't know crap about what's going on in the true crime world at all. So I heard somewhere that there's some new breaking news in like the Israel Keys case, which is like my favorite thing to read about. So that sparked a little bit of interest. I'm going to have to go look it up and see what they found. So a few weeks ago, end of January, it's been about a few weeks ago, I finally got to the point where physical therapy has me up and walking, which is really, really hard. And by walking, I mean like across my living room and back. I'm not on a treadmill. I'm not going outside walking around. I can't even get all the way through my house. It's exhausting. But it's walking. And I haven't walked since September 10th. So there's that. That's a positive. At least now I know I'm not going to be stuck in the wheelchair forever. It's still my trusty sidekick right now, but I'm stubborn enough. I'll get it. Before I got sick, I'd kind of gotten stubborn, and we were planning a trip to Disney for the 50th anniversary. And so I was like, I'm going to lose some weight. It wasn't about losing weight, but I didn't want to have to get like a wheelchair Disney. I wanted to be able to walk around and ride the rides and enjoy it. Because Lord knows it costs you a left arm and blood of a virgin Kardashian to get into Disney now. But so I didn't want to go and, just be a spectator. I wanted to enjoy it. So I was working out and stuff here at the house, and I'd lost some weight, and I was eating better, kind of keto, not completely. And then I got sick, and it was like when I woke up, I couldn't even roll over. Like I literally had to have nurses come in my room to move me so that I wouldn't get pressure spots and stuff. So that was a kick in the tail, But I'm walking around now. The physical therapist is happy. I'm not going to be doing a marathon anytime soon, but, walking's walking. I'll take it. It's better than going backwards. So, trying to lift my butt out of this bed and the wheelchair and stuff. My arms are kind of getting buff, but, whatever. I don't even know if you can see it. I'm bandage free. So, let's see if y'all can even see it. Can you all see that? That's my trach scar. I don't even cover it with makeup. You guys, I can count on one hand how many times I've had makeup on this year. I mean, when I tell you that I shut down. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. What is everybody else doing? Oh, we're missing people. So, Harpy, that's Sandy, Paula, hello. Yeah, I'd have turned it on a little bit early. Y'all ain't missed nothing. I'm just yakking. It's Sunday. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. You guys got plans? It was supposed to be game night at our house, and then Noah called and said he was working over. So we might do one later, but it didn't turn out the way it was supposed to today. Noah was supposed to be here to help me with my live, but it's just me. My iPad has about bit the dust. So I had to get a new tablet, and this one is bigger, so I can kind of see the comments better now. I'm just not used to it yet. Maybe that's what's echoing. I don't know. Well, no, because it's in my earphones. So my earphones aren't hooked up to that. I don't know. I don't know why I'm echoing on my end. So during my shutdown, I decided to write down my, God, I hate even saying this, near death experience, my I killed over experience, whatever you want to call it. Um, I'm guessing everybody that's here now knows what happened to me, but like Cliff Notes, I got COVID September 10th, went into the emergency room, thought it was pancreatitis. I wasn't having problems breathing at all. It wasn't like the flu, it was pain. I thought it was pancreatitis or a gallstone again. It was pain. I thought it was my GI system. I tested positive for COVID. Um, they admitted me. 6 days later, all the machines started going off. The nurses came in my room, and I guess the breathing machine I was on, this is what I've been told. I don't have any memory of it the entire week. I remember going to the emergency room, and that's it. I remember being told I had COVID. I don't remember being admitted, going upstairs to the floor, nothing. But they came in my room. My breathing machine had there's like a little, the valve thing had disconnected, and I was in the floor blue. So they put me on a ventilator. And I was on the ventilator for a little over a month. And they gave me, this is not medical advice, guys, remdesivir, and it caused kidney failure. So they put me on dialysis, like full blown dialysis, and then everything shut down. My heart stopped. I died. They shocked me twice. And then I got to be a little more high maintenance. So they sent me to another hospital that is one step below ICU. Like you're more, everybody there is on some kind of life support. It is the weirdest thing. And I was there for another month because they put a trach in. It was a hospital that handles trachs and that kind of stuff. So they put me on Ativan. So I was awake for a week that I don't, 2 weeks, one at the beginning and one at the end, that I don't remember very much of. The latter week, I was on Ativan for anxiety. You get really, really bad anxiety coming off the ventilator. And I started hallucinating, like I had an allergic reaction to it. And so what I remember is all hallucinations. Like I was nuts. Mom said I was not myself. I didn't recognize people. I didn't know what anybody was talking about. Nothing. So, start to finish, I was in the hospital for 70 days with COVID. Moral of the story, I killed over. So, in that time, when I woke up, I remembered I went to hell. I mean, in my experience, I've never had a dream like that. Last time I was on a ventilator, I had a dream where I saw people, my really close family members that had passed, and they talked to me and stuff. But it was like a dream. It was a little more vivid, and I can still remember it, even though that was 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. This was completely different. Um, I felt pain. I felt temperature. I heard stuff. I saw stuff. which, you know, some people are going to say that it was a hallucination or it was just a really vivid dream. You didn't really go, blah, 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 whatever. Take it however you want to. Um, but it was really weird. Um, I went to hell. I had this whole experience thing, and then I went to heaven. And so when I kind of when I first woke up, I told my mom. And, after I was awake for a little while and really coming off the medicine and got the trach out and stuff, I was like, maybe it was just a dream, you know, maybe it was just a dream. And I'll just take it for the experience that it was. And mom said, I absolutely think you did. And I said, what do you mean? At that point, I did not know that I had died. Nobody had told me that yet. They didn't tell me a lot of stuff for a while. Um, Mom said that I told her stuff that people said in heaven that I didn't know about, and I would have absolutely no way of knowing. Um, and I don't remember that part. And I asked her what it was, and she was like, "If you don't remember it, I'm not telling you." Must have been something good. Um, I don't know why I put that in. I got it turned down. I don't know that I would write a book. My mom was like, "You need to write a book," but I just typed it up on my iPad just to kind of get it down, put it in order, because it was like just pieces of it were coming to me. And then I was talking to my mom about it. Whenever she visited the hospital, she'd ask me a question, and then I was like, "Oh, and then this happened," and um, it's starting to fade. So I wanted to write it down just to keep, you know, because when I woke up, it was really comforting, and so when I wrote it down, it kind of renewed that. Like, I don't know, when you go through health crap like this, you have to know that you're here for some reason. Like, yeah, what I went through was hell. I mean, it still is. But I came out of it. A lot of people didn't, you know? And so to waste your life after you've been given a gift like that, that's on you, you know? I think it's a bad decision. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, and, y'all can ask me questions. I don't know that I'll have answers, but um, you can believe that it's a hallucination or a dream or take it for what it is. I can't tell you what to do with it. I'm just going to tell you what happened. Um, Jeez Louise. I wish I could echo it. So I I'm gonna end on the heaven part because that's the way I have it. I'm gonna put it in order and tell you guys about it. Y'all can ask questions and all that fun stuff. But hold on, let me get a drink. I've been sick all week and it's fried my throat, I think. Um anyway, so I woke up in this experience. It was like I fell, and when I opened my eyes, it was the most intense pain I can describe. I've never been through anything like that before. I don't even know what hurt because everything hurt. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I've had a car wreck. Like, I don't know where that came from, but that's the first thought that came to my mind. Oh my God, you've been in a car wreck. And and it was kind of like, okay, are you okay? And I I couldn't move, and all I could do was lift my head up. I was flat on my back, and it felt like I was on the road, like concrete, on my back flat, and I couldn't move anything. I couldn't feel. Well, I did feel because I was in like intense pain, but like I couldn't wiggle anything. All I could do was lift my head off the ground and look down. And it was so dark. I mean, like black, black, black. And it's almost like your senses came, not yours, mine. My senses came to me one at a time. I felt first, I saw a second, and then I could start hearing things. And it was so loud. Like it was the only thing I don't even know if that's a good comparison, but like what you would imagine a packed Super Bowl stadium, like just this roar of noise, like people, but it was almost like you could tune in to what was being said, what was going on. It was almost like you were flipping switches on a TV, and it was just people screaming, moaning, like I can't I can't even describe how bad it was. Cussing, I mean you name it, crying, just wailing, awful. But the pain was so intense you couldn't even focus on that. And I remember thinking, you haven't had a car wreck, you weren't in the car, like there's no car. And so then all of a sudden, when I looked up, there was like this um, a light pole, like you would see on the side of the road. Like you were driving through a community kind of thing, you know, main street. It wasn't like an interstate. It was like just a simple road, and there was like a street light, and it was on, and I kept trying to focus on it, and I was like, "Geez, how far away is that?" Because it felt like the dark could just swallow you up. Maybe that's not even it's so hard to describe this. There's so many times I'm gonna say that. I know. Um and so I just focused on it, and I'm like, okay, is there something wrong with my eyes? Like, why is it so dim? And the more I focused on it, it was like getting even more dimmer. And I was like, what is going on? And then you notice that it's moving. And so then I focused on like why is it moving? And it was like there were shadows that are like moth to a flame. It's the only way I can describe it. And it was like all you could see were shadows of people, and it was like they were climbing over each other trying to get to the light. Um, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And I can remember trying to say, where am I? And the between the pain and the noise, you could not even finish a thought, your own thoughts, like let alone speaking. Like it would just interrupt you. And then I heard this voice like to me, like in my brain. I didn't think it was somebody standing there. It was in my head. And it was the worst voice. I couldn't describe it if I tried to. It definitely wasn't a human. It wasn't anybody I knew. It was bone chilling. I mean, absolutely the scariest voice. Like, just, it still makes me, like, thinking about this is really hard. Um, but I can remember the voice word saying, "Where do you think you are?" And I didn't know. I did not know where I was. Um, oh, there was a part that I skipped. Part of the one of the weirdest things to me when I realized that I was in hell was it's not what I ever imagined it would be. I've been brought up in a Southern Baptist church. I've read my Bible cover to cover. I don't know how many times. I don't. I know what I thought I would have expected. It was cold. It was so cold. It felt like a knife cutting you in half. I mean, it was the kind of cold that you could not warm up. Um, I mean, just cut, and that was part of the pain too. It wasn't a hot pain; it was cold. Like there was no light, there was no warmth. It was just absolutely. You wish that it numbed you. You know how like cold makes you numb. You wish it could numb you. It was so cold, and I don't know which part of it is worse. Like the cold, the no light, the voice. Like I don't even know. All of it was just bad. And so this voice just tormented me. Like, that's the only way I know how to say it. Like, the voice would say things about I was a bad mom, I was a bad daughter, I was a horrible human being, and I was where I deserved to be. And that nobody loved me, and nobody was going to miss me, and I deserved to be in hell. And that's when it dawned, this is hell. Like that's the only way I knew. And it just makes you feel worse. Like with every word, you just feel worse and worse. And it's beyond like guilty. It's just heavy. Like someone just putting weight on you. I mean, does that even make sense? I don't know. Um, and I don't know at that point when I knew it was hell, it was like I was trying to pay more attention because it was so unlike what I expected hell to be. You could like you could hear stuff, but I didn't see anybody else until then. Like I saw the shadows. And kind of like with the noise, how you could tune it in, like you could hear different, not conversations, because it wasn't conversations, it was just noise, but you could like pick out a certain voice or this over here. Um, Once I knew I was in hell, I remember looking around as much as I could. I still couldn't move. I was still flat on my back in what I thought was a street. Um, and as you could do that, you realize that you're not alone. Um, I don't know. Um, but it just kept going like it felt like for such a long time. And I don't know how, but another voice came in my head, and I kind of just said, I don't I'm not supposed to be here. Not that I don't deserve to be here. I know that's not what the thought was, but like this, I grew up in church. I absolutely believe it. I have a personal relationship with God, and I've been baptized. I mean, that came to my mind, but it was like you were always trying to get cut off. Like every time you would think a thought, you couldn't really finish it. And then I started thinking about Bible verses, And as I would think through the Bible verses, the voice got lower and lower and quieter and didn't interrupt me as much. It's like they couldn't interrupt me as long as I was just quoting Bible verses. I mean, I can remember saying, you start with, okay, what do I know? Now, I've got a pretty good memory and I've memorized a lot of scripture over the years, but I can remember, the first thing in the beginning there was God, and God created the heavens and the earth, and then John 3:16, and then like the world's smallest Bible verse, you know, God is love, and um, we love because He first loved us, and then as it started going, I can remember going through like the Beatitudes and um, the 23rd Psalm. And the 23rd Psalm resonated with me in that moment that when I was done with it, I was so terrified that if I didn't keep on, the voice would come back. And so I kept saying the 23rd Psalm over and over and over until the voice shut up. And like you could still hear like the noise, the screaming and moaning and all of that stuff, but that voice shut up. It was gone. And I can remember thinking, I'm not supposed to be here. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. This is a mistake. And I can remember like praying, God save me. I'm not supposed to be here, you know. And so the Bible verse, the very end of Revelation says that He will be there even until the end of the earth, and He will never leave you and forsake you and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, you could start hearing this noise, and I was just like, "Oh God, what is this?" And it it was like this wind, and it wasn't cold. And I can remember looking around, and like the shadows were leaving, so that little street lamp thing was getting brighter, and it was like, what is that noise? Where's that coming from? And as it got closer, it was wings. um, I just remember, I didn't think I was gonna cry. um, Being like picked up, and it was so comforting, like not like that's such an understatement. Um, just this relief that I wasn't alone, and we just started going up. And as we went up, I couldn't see a face or anything like that. All I could see was gigantic wings, like the feathers, and they were a color I've never seen before. Like I can't even um, describe it. It was absolutely, um, it's crazy. But as we were going up, I could move again, and I can remember looking around. And as I was looking around, it was almost like, how to describe this? Like when you watch a movie and they show you an apartment building and like the front wall is gone, and you could just see in like little rooms what everybody is doing. It was like that. Um, and you could see other people that were there and what their hell was. I mean, just what it was awful. It was so awful. And something that surprised me was there were demons, and like in my brain, I knew that they were demons because they didn't look human. And I don't know if it's just me, but growing up in church, when you think about Satan and demons and hell, you think, oh, they're having a grand old time torturing people. I get that's what I thought or assumed. I don't know if that's what was taught to me, but they weren't. Um, they were not happy to be there, and it was like they were being absolutely tormented at the same time. And it was just so overwhelming. Um, you didn't want to look. Like, it was so invasive, personal. It was like you didn't feel like you should be seeing people there. And what was really crazy is I recognized some people. Um, and what was really weird is some of those people aren't dead. I don't have an answer for that one. Oh goodness. I'm sorry, I keep drinking. um, but we just kept going up and up, and it was like we came out of the ground. Like it was dark, and then all of a sudden it was light, and you could see like the earth. We kept going up, up and up and up, and we went out of like the atmosphere. I remember thinking, "Oh my God, am I going to be able to breathe?" I don't know. And you could see stuff moving, and it was like we were in space. This is why I'm not gonna write a book. This sounds like some really bad sci-fi or something. Um, but you could breathe. Um, and I can remember seeing stars, which is weird because if you've ever looked at pictures of space, I think I read an interview with one of the first people. I don't remember, it was Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin that said something that surprised him was that you didn't see stars in space because they're so far away and you don't see them, which is weird because we see them here. And I remember thinking, oh my God, because it was just like lights and they were moving and they were just so sparkly and bright. I don't know. I ate my thing out. I don't know. And that was the first time that I talked, and I said, as like a complete airhead, I said, "What are those?" And it was just like another voice in my head. I don't think they spoke. I think I just heard it in my head, and it was those are the stars. And I was like, "Oh, duh," you know. And that, and then I guess I felt kind of stupid. And they said, "Those are angels." Like, the stars are angels. That's why they move around, and that's why there are so many. And that's why this is not quoted. That sounded a lot smarter than I do. Um, that's why God says that the stars have names, and He knows how many there are, and stuff like that. That they're angels, and I don't know why I never really thought about that. I mean, Lord knows my second favorite movie in the world is It's a Wonderful Life, and that's the first 5 minutes. Clarence is a star. He's talking and he's asking if he can have his wings. I don't know. I feel so stupid telling you guys this because this is my brain. I'm telling you, and I'd never thought, like, where are we going? Or there was not, it was really stupid. What are those? Like, it was an intelligent conversation. And we just kept going up. And as we, it, as we went up, it was almost like it was layers. So, like, there was the stars and that kind of stuff where it was really dark, but the, you know, you could see the stars. And then after that, it was like going the going through the northern lights. Like, it was just colors and beautiful. And the further you went up, the warmer it got. And not like uncomfortable, like it got hot or anything, but you just, compared to like being in hell and that how cold it was to me, um, just feeling any kind of warmth, you just felt like you'd never be warm again, almost. Anyway, so as we went up and up and up, the northern light looking things then kind of turned into like clouds, not like cotton ball clouds or bright blue sky or anything, because like it was weird that like whatever dense thing we were going through. I mean, in my brain it was a cloud, but hell, I don't know. Um, and then you could you started hearing, and then it was the same as when you were in hell. Like you could tune in and hear, over here, or tune into conversations, and these were conversations. And above that, it was just singing, but unlike hell, where it was just you couldn't understand it because I mean it was just people screaming and moaning, and this singing was you heard different languages, and but it was like they were all singing the same song, but it was different languages, like, but it just fit together. It's so weird to try to describe. This is the worst thing to describe. But then we kind of got to what I would call land, and I and he said, I say he, the voice was a male that was in my head. Um, said you're here, and just sat me down on my feet. And I can remember I didn't have shoes on, and I was like, crap, I forgot shoes. Like, I'm telling you, I was not smart in this experience. Ooh, what are those? I forgot my shoes. I didn't pack for that, but I can remember thinking, this is so dumb. It was like grass, like um, grass, but it didn't hurt. Or I guess maybe the reason it stuck out to me is because I'm diabetic. I wear socks everywhere except in the shower. I'm not allowed to be barefoot because the neuropathy that I have in my feet, which has not gotten any better, I can't feel them. So, like, last time I went to the podiatrist, I had 3 broken toes. I didn't even know. I can't feel them. If I'm not looking at you like a doctor, and I've had so many nurses and doctors do this to test reflexes and that kind of stuff. If I'm not looking at you, I don't know that you're touching my feet. So being barefoot in grass that I could feel was it brought me joy that I can't even explain. When I was a kid, up until being an adult, I never wore socks, never wore shoes. Like I did when I left the house, I'm not like a barefoot hillbilly or whatever, but um, I didn't like it. I liked being barefoot, um, walking around in the grass. So it's crazy to think the amount of joy just grass and bare feet brought me. Like I was just like in awe of. I can remember just staring at my toes, like just staring at my feet, wiggling my toes in grass that was just so soft and beautiful. Like it, I can't even. And just like it was in hell, it was like you got senses back one at a time. Because I think if it hit you all at once, you would be completely overwhelmed, like completely. It's just so intense. Everything is so intense. Um, except my thoughts. Apparently, those weren't very intense. Those were very preschooly. Um, and so I heard somebody say my name, and I lifted my head and looked over, and um, that's when I started feeling other things besides the grass. It was so warm in a way. I remember how I described it to my mom when I first came to. I said it's like you were just in a pool or outside in a pouring rain and snow, um, and somebody handed you a hot towel straight out of the dryer, like that comforting, big, fluffy robe or a towel or a blanket, or it was like a hug. I mean, it was just so comforting. Um, and that was just so overwhelming. I can remember I just closed my eyes and I just stood there. No telling how long. Just it was probably to like I've had chronic illness now for 12 years. And it got really bad probably 10 years ago. And then about 8 years ago, it went to chronic pain all the time. Like, I'm never not in pain. And I just remember I wasn't in pain. Um, and it was just so comforting and soothing. And I've never experienced that. I mean, I know I'm comparing it to something really simple like a warm towel, but it's so, like the cold had been down to your bones. This was comfort in every nerve in your body. I mean, it was, I don't know. I miss it. Um, it was just so overwhelming. It's not the right word because I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Um, but anyway, um, I looked around and you're comfortable and it's so beautiful. Like just the air around you, just there's not a painting that's ever been made or a picture you've ever taken or nature photographers have ever made that would compare. There were colors that we don't have. Um, it was like you see stuff in so much more detail, and it was crazy. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but I looked over, and in this grass were people that I knew that had left, and um, and behind them was like pretty far away was a gate, and I knew that was the gate. The pearly gate. I mean, it just. So when I say I went to hell, I do think I went to hell. When I say I went to heaven, I was not in. I didn't go in, um, and so I didn't see anything beyond the gate. You know what I mean? And so you could see. Um, it was just like y'all ever watch those YouTube videos of people who have been blind their whole life and then they get implants or what else and or they can see, or are deaf forever and they get hearing implants and they can hear for the first time? That's what you felt like. Um, it was just so. There's not a reference for it at all. Hold on, let me get myself together here. I'm trying to see if y'all ask me questions before I get too ahead of myself. Um, hello to everybody that came in. Um, this is fascinating. Now you see why I'm not going to write a book, because this is so hard to. It would have to be a board book for babies on my knowledge level. Good grief. Okay. Yeah, I'll get to that. Okay, so when I started looking around, I mean, I saw my family. I'm trying to describe to you like what I saw. I didn't like ignore people sitting over there, but what I remember seeing, like stuff that stuck out to me as I kind of tuned in to different voices and stuff. You could tell these people were from all over the place, but what really stuck out to me were that there were Indians, like Native American, like whatever you want to call them. I don't even know exactly what you're supposed to call them anymore. Um, Indigenous or whatever. My great grandparents were full blood Cherokee. Um, so I'm Cherokee and Seminole, um, and they were there, but they were in like powwow gear, like they had feathers and the whole shebang, and they would dance and they were chanting. And I don't know if you've ever been to a powwow or watched it or whatever. The way that they throat, I think what they call it is throat singing, and they'll tell you if you ever have a conversation with them about what they're doing, their their songs and their dances, they call them prayers, that they're their prayers are for different things. And I could just, it was crazy because even like their outfits were more elaborate than they are here, like with the jewelry and the stones, and you don't recognize even what they have. And now that I've thought about it now, I'm guessing it's because, like, if you think of a real elaborate headdress that are made out of feathers, those are coming out of birds here, and the ones there are probably from birds that are in heaven. So I guess that's why they're better. I don't know, but um, it was wild. And then I can remember looking over, and I'm not going to go into this part real deep because um, one of the reasons I didn't want to tell people about my experience is because I didn't want them. Like, I saw people and they told me things, and I wouldn't want somebody to come to me and be like, oh, like I could do it again. Like, they could ask me a question and I could, like, this, I'm not a medium or, I don't believe in all that stuff. So if, like, the people that talk to me, I can remember when I woke up asking my mom, do you think I should tell so and so? And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought it felt manipulative. Does that make sense? Um, like, I'm not special. Like, they didn't come to me and I'm some messenger of whatever. Um, I don't know how to put that in words, but it felt manipulative. And you don't know where people are in grief, And I think if somebody, I tried to put myself in their shoes. If somebody just called me up one day, and I mean, obviously these are people I know, but they said, I saw so and so, I think I had a near death experience, and this is what they said to me, that could really put people back. Kind of like my mom, like my mom's mom. I was born in February and she died in April. And so 39 years ago, still to this day, like if my mom talks about her mom, she's really upset. I mean, she still grieves her very deeply. Um, so I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to hurt somebody. Do you know what I mean? That's so hard to describe. Um, but anyway, like when I looked at, saw different groups of people, one was kids. And it was like this huge playground. Like, there were kids and they were just playing. And I recognized some of them. I mean, they're some of the kids we've talked about. Um, yeah, grief. I mean, you just couldn't help but like it makes me sad now, but at the time it was just so. I laughed. Like, I can remember it was infectious. They were kids and there didn't have to be parents watching them, and there wasn't any, oh my gosh, they're going to fall off the monkey bars or, whatever. They were just how it should be. They were kids and they were having fun and they weren't alone and they weren't sad. And um, it's just so innocent, I guess. It's probably the word for it. Anyway, so that was something else. But so I looked and there was a group of people like in front of me just to my right. And they were standing on this road and this road did go all the way to the gate, and it was like bricks, and you know, The Wizard of Oz is like my favorite movie. I guess in my brain, the road to heaven would probably look like the Yellow Brick Road, but they were made out of something, and it was I'm telling you, you can't even describe the colors, but they were like translucent, like glass, but they were prismatic at the same time, almost like mother of pearl abalone shell kind of shimmer. But like you could look, I mean, it was like you could see through them if you wanted to. It was, it was wild. It was wild, but it was so pretty. And so I say my family, and that's who was there. Um, my husband's grandparents were there. My ex-husband's grandma was there. I was really close to her. Um, but my great grandmother was there. My grandma was there. My mom's mom. Um, and her sister, Gladys, my great aunt, and her husband, Orville. Now, Gladys and Orville and my grandma grew up on the same road. And so they grew up together ever since they were kids, and they were like the three amigos. Anytime they were always together. Um, and so Orville was in the military, and so was my grandma. Um, all four of my grandparents were in the military. Um, so, I mean, they were separated that way when they were deployed and stuff in the Korean War. But then when my um, my mom's parents were stationed in Germany during the Korean War, and so my mom was born in Germany on an army base, and my grandpa was a bad dude. Like, I'm not gonna put that story out there. My grandpa was a bad dude. There's a reason my mom started domestic violence shelter, and it was because of my grandpa. And there was like one final incident where my grandma she was done, and she took the girls, my mom and my mom's two sisters, and they came back to Illinois and lived really close to Gladys and Orville again. And so they were always together. The three of them were always together. And okay, this isn't my heaven story, but I have to tell you, my grandmother was hilarious. I mean, a lot of people tell me I'm funny. I know where I got it. My grandma was hilarious. Just that, I was 2 months old when she died, so I don't have like firsthand memories or anything. But when my grandma brought my aunts and my mom back, they were in Illinois, and there was a serial rapist in the community, in the neighborhood. And so Gladys, my great aunt Gladys, was as tall as a minute. I mean, she was so little. She was not even 5 foot tall. She's tiny, and when she spoke, she spoke like a bird. Like she has one of those real trilly kind of voices. And she's very southern, and I can hear her say it whenever I heard this story. I can hear Gladys saying, "Now, Orville, you call her and tell her to bring them girls to this house until they catch that guy." And Orville was like, "All right, I'll call him." And so Orville called my grandma, and Gladys went on the other line, from what I've been told, to listen. And Orville said, now my grandma's name was Lydia. He said, "Now you bring them girls over here And she said, why? And he was like, haven't you been watching the news? There is a man on the loose that's a rapist, and you don't need to be alone with those three girls. Just come stay with us until it calms down. And she said, now what? And she probably hadn't watched the news. Orville said, there's a rapist. He has already had, I don't remember the number, has already hurt so many women. And Lydia said, and my grandma, Lydia, her name was Lydia, she said, and he's on the loose. And Orville said, yes, bring them girls over here. She said, well, I got my red light on the front porch, all the doors and windows are unlocked, and I got my best lingerie. And Gladys was, now Lydia hung up the phone. Like, my grandma was hilarious. Got my best lingerie on. Here's hoping. Anyway, she was something else. So, anyway, in this group of people were my great granny, which is my grandma's mom, who was full blooded Cherokee. I have never seen great granny. She died back in 91 or 92. I think it was 91. I have seen her. She was so old. She lived a long time. I've never seen her without her hair in a bun, like Annie in Wizard of Oz. Like, she had this big bun on the bottom of her neck. I've never seen her with her hair not in a bun. But as she was standing there, I don't even know how I recognized her because she was younger. They weren't all the same age. None of them looked like they did when they died. Not a one of them. She had hair. Jet black. Jet black. And it was down to the ground. And when I told my mom that, Mom was like, yeah, that's Great Granny. And she said, when I was little, we used to go over there and she would pay me a nickel. She would wash her hair, brush it like it was a whole ordeal, and braid it. And she would wrap that braid into a bun. And as she stood there, Mom said she used to pay her a nickel to brush her hair and help her put it back up. And I didn't know that. And she has that beautiful, beautiful black, thick, shiny Native American hair. I mean, it was just something else. It was down to the ground. I mean, just waterfall of hair standing there. And Gladys and Orville looked like they were probably 30. I've seen a picture back when, they might have been younger than that, with another one of my great uncles before the war. They were in Illinois, standing in front of a car. But that, I don't know. When you go to heaven, you just get to pick what you look like. I don't know. Pick your age. I don't know. I don't know the rules. I don't know what I looked like. I didn't have a mirror. I might have been drop dead gorgeous. Who knows? But Gladys and Orville were young, and my grandma, I think my grandma looked like an old Hollywood kind of actress. Like, she was just fabulous. And tough as nails. Like, she wasn't no damsel in distress, obviously. But she was. It's crazy because you don't think about this at the time. And like, when I described it to my mom, it was like when she spoke to me, she died when I was 2 months old. I don't have video of her, so I've never seen her move. I don't know what her voice sounded like, and I did. So I remember telling my mom that what I remembered most was her laugh, and um, Mom was like, "Yeah, she had a really great laugh." So that's why I think I was there. I mean, things that the things I walked away with were really good. Um, so anyway, I had a miscarriage after Xander. When Xander was 6 months old, I found out I was pregnant again, and I miscarried at like three and a half months or so. Um, we didn't know what it was or whatever, and mm, um, my little girl was there, and I knew when I looked at her, she was mine. But she wasn't a baby. She was like 5, like I would have guessed 5 or 6, like school age. And her name was Graceland. And it was kind of, she reminded me a lot of me um, when I was little. She didn't stand there the whole time because she wanted to go play. So, she was kind of there, and then she wasn't. Like, she ran off when it was, oh, okay, like the grown ups were talking or something. And I don't know. So, I spoke to some different people. The one, I tried to describe this guy, like, to my mom, and I was like, uh, when I was coming out of it, my memory was really bad, like, really bad. And so pieces of it would just come back. And I was like, I don't remember who it was. And I tried to describe him and tried to describe him. And then I think it was a couple of days later, I remembered and I said, it was your mom's first husband, um, boyfriend. I don't see, my memory's stupid right now. I don't know if they got married. It was like they were really, really young, um, like 18, and he um, signed up and he went to the war and he died. And so I don't think they got married, but they were going to get married. And he was there. Um, why? I don't know. Like, I don't have a connection to him. I didn't have any frame of reference of why he was there. And I don't remember him saying anything. Um, I remember thinking he was really handsome, kind of like Jimmy Stewart back in the day. I don't know. But the person who did probably, like, everybody talked except him, just like you're at some kind of full on, like a family reunion, I guess. Um, Everybody was just happy, and the person who spoke the most was my great uncle Orville. I say him and Gladys were my grandparents because I lost my grandma when I was very, very little, and so we always, most of the time, lived close to them, and so they were like my grandparents. We would go there for holidays and stuff like that. I was really, really close to them. And after I kind of talked and felt like I'd been there for hours, a long time, and I can remember him saying, "So, are you coming or going?" And I can. I told him, I said, I can't stay. I can't leave my boys. And so he said, okay. Anyway, but I mean, it felt like I was there for a long time, like just noticing stuff. And it was so weird because, like, looking at the gate, it wasn't like solid, like you could see through it or whatever. And, but you couldn't like see everything. It's like you knew. I just remember having this feeling like you knew it was going to be so beautiful, but I wasn't going in yet, you know? Um, I don't know. But it was almost like I can remember thinking, where is like the warm coming from? Because it's not like it's almost like a warm breeze on like a spring day or something. Like it was noticeable, but it wasn't like it ever left. Do you know what I mean? Like that seems so stupid to me, but it's so hard to explain. But I can remember looking, and it was like you. There was just this really bright light, like as dark as it was in hell. It was so bright there, and when people paid attention, they all looked in the same direction. And it was like almost like looking at the sun, like you knew that God was there. Like you could feel where God was, but you couldn't see it. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know how to describe it. It was so wow, like just crazy. And I had conversations with people. People said things about people that were still here. Um, I saw Denise. She's the only person that I saw um, that wasn't my relative. Like, I mean, I know it was my husband's grandparents, my ex-husband's grandma, but they're family. You know what I mean. But it wasn't like I didn't see everybody I knew. Like, there have been my friends in high school that have died, unfortunately. Like, I didn't see them. Um, People weren't walking like my. They looked like everybody that I saw. They looked like, I guess, like they wanted to. Like they didn't. It wasn't. I don't know. In my brain, like if you just think about it, you think, oh yeah, there's fluffy clouds and angels are playing a harp and they all have white robes and they have halos and you know everybody's got these white robes on like choir robes, but they didn't. They just had clothes on. Like they just looked normal. Like Dan's grandpa had on just like he did here. That man, you would think he was getting ready for church every day of his life. Like he got up and got ready. He had slacks, a button-up shirt, a tie or whatever, like in a jacket. And him and Dan's grandma Charlene, it just they looked how they wanted to, like comfortable. It wasn't like a stiff. Everybody was just so happy, you know, just so happy. So whenever it was time to go, it was almost kind of like, I remember saying, I can't stay. I got to go back to my boys. And it was kind of like, okay. And nobody said goodbye. It wasn't sad. Um, but it was almost like kind of the reverse, but less intense of how I got there. I didn't hear like these big wings and stuff this time, but I felt like somebody was carrying me like in their arms, and we just kind of went down. But it wasn't like we went through space, and it wasn't as long of a trip to go down as it did up. Um, or maybe I don't remember it. I mean, that could be part of it. I don't remember going through like the Northern Lights kind of thing. I don't remember um, going through space or anything like that. But it was like they brought me, and I put my feet on the ground, and um, I don't I don't remember what happened after that. Um, just coming back down, and then um, I woke up. I don't know. Did this happen while I was dead? I mean, I couldn't have been dead for that long. They shocked me twice. I don't know how long I was technically dead or anything. I mean, I felt like I'd been there for hours. Like it wasn't it, in hell. It was like you could feel every second tick by, and they were like an hour because it was just so miserable. It was so heavy and dark and awful. But heaven was just the opposite. I mean, it felt like I was there, but it was like no time had passed at all. Like there wasn't a lull in the conversation, or I wasn't bored. I guess thinking about it now, like after I woke up, not right this second, but I, I guess it's strange to me now to think I wasn't more curious. It was like I knew when I got there that was the gate and I wasn't going past it, but I never asked that, or nobody ever told me that. You know what I mean? It was like, it's almost like, have you ever found out about a surprise, like a Christmas present or a birthday present, and you know what it is? So you know that you're getting it, but you know you get it later. You can't have it right now. It was kind of like that. I was like, you expect to go do that, but not now. And it was, I know the word for it, it's content. You were just content. Yeah, just content. You weren't, even though I said I had to go back, I can't leave my boys. It wasn't like, I gotta go right now, I gotta go. It didn't go like I wasn't anxious, which is unusual for me because my entire life has been go, go, go. If I was doing something, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next. I'm just that person. I remember when I was younger, when I was in elementary school, I couldn't wait to be in middle school. When I was in middle school, I couldn't wait to be in high school. When I was in high school, I couldn't wait to go to college. Um, when I was engaged, I can remember my mom a few times saying, "Do you need to tell me something?" Because while we were making wedding plans, I was already thinking about babies. It was like I never did just be content and enjoy the stage I was in. I was like, okay, we're here now. Where we go next? And it wasn't like that there at all. It was just so, I could have stayed there forever. Um, but I don't know, like, why did I get that experience? Maybe God knew I was going to be really depressed and I needed something to think about. I don't know. I don't feel like I have like a message for people. Like, I'll be honest, I've heard so many people talk about died and went to heaven, and died and went to hell, I made a book, they made a movie. And I've read a ton of them. Like, they're so, you're always curious. Like, um, but there's always something. It's like, I feel like they're fake. Like, I don't know. Like, I talked to God, and Moses walked me around and showed me the world, and it wasn't like that. It was so personal. Like, I don't know what Moses looks like. They weren't walking around with name tags, you know? All I saw was my family, and it was outside. Like, does God give people, you know, trips to heaven where they get to go in and ride Space Mountain and come back home with the button? I don't know. It just wasn't the experience that I had. And not that I feel like I'm missing out, because, you know, during some really rough times since I've been awake, it's sometimes that's the only thing I can think about that's comforting. Um, but when you think about it, like when I wrote it and like talking about it today, and when I talked about it to my mom, because after we talked about it for a while, she said, after I came home, we had a conversation on the phone, and it was like, so tell me again, how did it happen? And like, she wanted it in order, because I just kind of told her bits and pieces, or I'd ask her, does this mean something to you? Like, because there was things my grandma had said, and, you know, like I said, I never heard my grandma. I never saw how she moved, and there were things that she said, and I was like, is there something about a red bird? Like, my grandma used to love lions. She had all kinds of lions and stuff. So it was weird to me that she had mentioned something about a red bird, and I told my mom, and it took my mom a couple of days. I mean, it took her a little while, and she was like, she used to sing this song to me when I was little, and the words to the song were something about a red bird. I don't remember the name of it now. It wasn't a song I'd ever heard. Um, but I mean, it was just so comforting. That's the only way I know how to describe it. But when I talk about it, like in long form, not just bits and pieces, or I think about it when I wrote it down, you kind of have, it's not like, oh my God, I want to be there now, I made a mistake, or whatever, but you kind of have this longing in the pit of your stomach. But it's like it's a trip that you got planned, it's just not time to go, you know? But I can imagine if that's all you thought about all the time, it probably would make you depressed. Um, that you're not there. But I haven't been depressed about that. I've been depressed about a lot of stuff. Um, I've taken medicine and come off of medicine and been sick and everything else. But I mean, I know I cry like an idiot talking about certain parts of it, but you know, it's a good memory. Like, even it does kind of fade. I know there's details that I've forgotten about it already, but it was just so vivid. Like, I've had some really vivid dreams. Like, Gladys and Orville came to me in a dream last time I was on a ventilator. And I was a lot more aware that time, but I kind of wonder, it wasn't a pandemic then. I was on a feeding tube. I was really sick. They put me on a feeding tube. The feeding tube got infected. I went septic, and they had to put me on a ventilator. And they said 30% chance she's not going to wake up. And that was on Thanksgiving. But when I woke up, I remembered stuff, and like my mom had, like, I told mom conversations we'd had. I remember her saying, "If you'll just wake up, I'll take you on a cruise. We'll go wherever you want to go." And like, it, this is gonna sound so stupid. I had a dream, and so my great uncle Orville looks. If I can find, I will put a picture on Discord. He looks just like the skipper from Gilligan's Island, just like him, just like him. And so, whenever I was on the ventilator that time, Orville had come to me. He had not said I got to choose or whatever. But like, like if you read like a comic strip and they talk about this Castaway Island, you kind of get that a little bitty, maybe 10-foot round island with like one lone coconut on it. Orville and I were sitting with our backs up against a coconut tree. And when my mom was talking about that cruise, a cruise ship would go by in the ocean. And it's so, and it would blare the horn. In my dream, it was a Disney cruise, so it played the Mickey Mouse theme song. No, it doesn't. It plays When You Wish Upon a Star. That's what it does. But it was like stuff that people would say to me, I would think it in my head, and I remembered it when I came off of it. I heard conversations with the doctors. I heard conversations with the nurse. Dan had come in, and Dan had done 2 deployments to Afghanistan. Okay, there's certain things we don't talk about, and I don't know why he thought since I was on a ventilator he needed to tell me everything. And when I woke up, I was like, I heard all that. I know all that. And it was, my mom read me a book, and I knew about the book. She used to play music a lot of the time that she was there, and she'd pray, and it was all out loud. And so when I woke up, she was like, "You have to hear this song," and she played the song, and I was singing along to it, and she was like, "How do you know that song?" And I'm like, "You played it the whole time I was on the ventilator." And I mean, so that was so much different than this time. So I don't know if this time, this hospital that I was at on the ventilator, they had a COVID floor. Everybody was on the ventilator. Everybody was on their stomach. And you're out. And there are no visitors. You cannot visit the COVID thing. So there just might not have been anything to recall. You know what I mean? Until later. Maybe that's why I don't remember a lot of things, because the doctor would come in and talk to my mom the first time. There was nobody to talk to, so unless the doctor said something to a nurse, there wouldn't have been a lot of conversation around me. So maybe that's why I don't remember it. I mean, I could have been just as aware, just nobody was talking. I don't know. And I don't, now that I think about it, that could be really bad for people. Maybe it would have a positive effect if they played music in rooms with coma patients. I don't know. That's weird. I never really thought about that. It just kind of popped in my head. I don't know. Would it make a difference? Would more people make it, come out of it? I don't know. I came out of it because I had a mama that prayed. If you don't have a mama that prays, you don't understand. My mom would have gone to hell and drove me back out. She would have. I don't know. Oh, one thing I did forget. When I was in heaven, the opposite of when when I was in hell and would have a thought and it would interrupt you before you could even finish it. Like it was so can just cut you off. And when you were in heaven, I can remember thinking, and you would just know the answer before you could even finish the question in your head. It was just like you knew the answer to stuff. Because, I saw that the little girl. And grandma's boyfriend or fiance, whatever he was, before it was even like, who is that? It was like, I knew, like, the answer is, that's your daughter. She had the prettiest little brown hair. She had, like, Shirley Temple curls, like, just, I don't know. So, anyway, how long have we been on here? Probably, like, 48 hours. It feels like it now. An hour and 40 minutes. Y'all think I'm crazy now? Yeah. I'm trying to read through some of these comments. There was a lot. I'm sorry. This is a different kind of live for me. I feel like I just talked at you guys. I didn't answer a lot of questions in the middle. It was just too. I tried, but it too distracting. And wanted to kind of get it all out, but I'm glad I sprayed my face and ain't running down my cheeks. So anybody that came in through half of that, it's an interesting experience on my end. You can take it how you want to, discount it, say it was a hallucination or a dream or whatever. I don't know. I just know that it helped me, you know? But yeah, I'm not going to write that in a book because I don't want everybody to know that I was so stupid I didn't know what stars were. Wow. Maybe that's what they mean when they say you have to be like a little child to go to heaven. I mean, you just don't know nothing. I don't know. But I'm gonna try real hard not to go back on the ventilator because this time was rough. This one was rough. That one was rough. But I'm glad I shared it. I kept thinking I needed to figure it all out and write it all down, and maybe I should make a video and not do it as a live and edit stuff out. And I made it a bigger production in my head, and then that overwhelmed me. And then I was like, just forget it. You just go do a live and tell them, and they'll either think you're crazy or delusional or something. Something. I don't know. But you guys are always really nice to me. But it's a good thing to think about, when I get overwhelmed or really anxious. Let me tell you, I went to the doctor a week and a half ago, and it was actually the follow up for being discharged from the hospital. But I've been so dang sick, we haven't been able to do the follow up from the hospital. I came to his office and I was really sick, and he sent me to the emergency room. So I just now got my discharge follow up since before Thanksgiving. And so I was like, this hospital, I brought the papers. I'm like, this is the medicine that they put me on. He took me off of everything. I mean, everything. So it's been a trip. I mean, they had me on anxiety medicine, depression medicine, pain medicine. And I told him, I was like, I'm not sleeping. I'm having panic attacks. I'm really depressed. And he wasn't having it. I mean, wasn't having it. Not that I want to be like drugged up and out of it, but just not being as mobile as I was. I'm in bed a lot of the time, um, in a wheelchair. That's not comfortable. It's a lot of body aches. And I have GI issues, so I have gastroparesis, if you don't know. Basically, all of the muscles in my stomach are paralyzed. And so, every once in a while, your stomach tries to restart itself. And when it does that, all of the muscles, it feels like you're in labor, like a contraction, like underneath your chest on the outside. Like I call it the rainbow, like that arch when you're really pregnant. All of those muscles will bunch up like a contraction, and it'll last 10 seconds or it'll last like 45 minutes. I've had some really long ones. And all you can, instinctually, all you do is kind of hunch over to try to make it not pull as much. And then that pain goes into your back. Oh, it's awful. Gastroparesis is awful. Awful. But it's so weird. So what I was going to tell you, this doctor's appointment, they did a bunch of labs, everything. They ran everything. And if I could have $1 for every nurse, practitioner, therapist, doctor that has told me that I was a walking miracle, they'd never seen this happen in all their years of practice, I'd be rich. I'm not kidding. Um, I told you guys I went complete kidney failure. The remdesivir stuff, there's like a class action lawsuit already. And now I'm thinking they're not even really giving that to COVID patients again because it's making a lot of people worse. It causes complete kidney failure. I didn't have one organs of mine that still worked normally was my kidneys, and I went to complete kidney failure. I was on 24-hour dialysis, and then I didn't find this out till the other day. When I tell you, people don't like to tell me what went on. They had talked to my husband about turning off the machine because everything was failing. And they said, we're going to turn off the dialysis and we're going to try to get her off the vent. Let's just see what happens. And he said, well, if she needs dialysis, what's going to happen? And they said, well, the machine will stay in there. And whenever her labs show that she needs dialysis, we'll give it to her. It's just not going to be constant. And so they turned it off. And I haven't had to have dialysis at all. I have a completely functioning kidneys. I have two. My lab work came back, and the doctor called me and said, your labs for your kidneys are better now than they were before you had COVID. And they were like, that the doctor had to release me from the specialty hospital. And it's the doctor that put me on dialysis. And he said, I don't recognize you because he'd only seen me on the COVID floor on a ventilator, like face down. And here I was sitting on the side of the bed and talking and was fine. And he said, and this was an old doctor. He said, I've never had a patient go off dialysis. He says, once you get dialysis, that's something you have to do. And, it makes sense. My cousin's on it. He's been on it for 15 years or whatever. They put a port in and he goes and gets dialysis like twice a week or something. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I have no reason that I should be here, When they talk to mom, when the doctors talk to my mom, because I don't know, some of y'all might know or remember whatever, my parents had just sold everything here. My dad retired, sold his business. They packed up and moved to Panama, not Panama City, Panama, the country. Mom and dad had moved to Panama in August. September 10th, I got COVID. And so mom was trying to figure out how to come back. They had both just had their COVID vaccines. And the second round, it gave my dad pneumonia. I didn't know it give you pneumonia. And I was like, are you sure it was COVID, the vaccine that gave you pneumonia? And he was like, yes. My doctor called me and told me that I had to register with the CDC. Apparently it's a thing. And so dad was in the hospital in Panama. He went in right after I did. And so mom and dad couldn't come back up here. Like, dad was too sick. Dad was in the hospital. So they were delayed, I think a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks or something, before they were well enough and were okay to fly back here. So mom had talked to the doctor and, they told her she's got less than 10% chance. Once they put me on the ventilator, it was bad. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I didn't do anything, I don't deserve it, and I know that I'm depressed and anxious and it sounds really negative, but I still would have chosen to stay again, I just have to remember that. It's one of those things you kind of have to keep telling yourself. It's hard when you're depressed, It's so hard. But this helps, which is crazy because I feel like I know you guys, and so many of you have sent me messages or called, messaged Xander on Discord. It's just okay, like just checking in, and sent me gifts and all kinds of stuff. And I just love you guys. Thanks for all the stuff. Sandy Lee, if you were still here, I forgot to bring that. Sandy Lee made me the best scarf, and I was so happy. It was freezing cold. I do not like cold anymore, I can tell you that. I don't like to be cold at all. It makes me very anxious now. She sent that to me. I seem to be more cold-natured than I was. Dan is probably happy about it. Like, I keep my house cold all the time, always hot. And this time after COVID, a lot of the times I'm like, I'm freezing, go crank the heat up. And he's like, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. He's enjoyed it. I haven't had all the fans going all the time. So much stuff is different. Like, I didn't want to make this about COVID, but my taste buds have completely changed. Stuff that I absolutely loved and craved and have eaten my whole life, I'm like, I don't like it. The smell of it will make me nauseous. Mustard. I hate mustard. I hate mustard. I woke up, I wanted turkey sandwiches with mustard, and I have eaten them probably every day since they took my trach out and put me on food. Mustard. Like crazy. Like, I used to get sushi all the time. That was always the joke with my other ex YouTube friend. It was like, we used to ask, what are you doing for dinner tonight? And mine was like, if I could, I'd get sushi. I would eat sushi every day of my life. I've had it 3 times since I've been out of the hospital from different places and gotten different things. And I can't eat it. It's so weird. It's so weird. My diabetes is crazy. We're trying to get everything that all straightened out. They've had to change a lot of my insulin amounts, and I didn't even know this, but I've had some pretty low ones. I think the lowest I've seen, I went into a coma with that one. Not a coma. I was unconscious. My son called the ambulance, and when they checked my sugar, it was 25. But the lowest I've seen it was 32. But they make, did y'all even know this? They make almost like an EpiPen, like people that are allergic to things. They have, it's not insulin, it's a glucose pen shoved in your leg that will yank your sugar up if it's too low. I didn't even know that was a thing. It's crazy. Oh, my ex-husband used to get that sleep paralysis stuff. Yeah, that's scary. I'm trying to read some of these comments. God, I hate talking about him. He was so bad. Um, I think he had sleep apnea, but he was so finicky and ridiculous. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, and I don't know. But like, when they're sick, they're dying. But he would be like, he would get sick, and you would be like, okay, go to the doctor. I gotta go. I can't go to work. I gotta go to the doctor. He would go to the doctor, figure out what's wrong with him, get a prescription, and then he wouldn't even feel the dang thing. And it's like, if you were going to complain, at least take the daggone medicine. You know what I mean? It was so stupid. So we talked to a couple of doctors about having a sleep study done or whatever, and he never would do it. He was always so weird about it. He wouldn't do it. And so for 7 years, I would hold his hand when we slept, because whenever he would have one of those episodes, the only thing that he said he could move were his fingers. And I would wake up, and then I'd move him around, and then he'd start breathing all weird. It was so weird. It was so weird. Nothing like Dan. Dan is the weirdest sleeper I've ever seen. He comes in and he lays flat on his stomach, straight as a board. Ginger will go sleep on the back of his legs. And sometimes he is so quiet. I can remember for the longest time, I would be like, is he even breathing? Because he was so quiet. Now he snores. I don't know what the difference is. But him and Ginger will get to like opposite. And so it's just one big long snore. I try to shut that door and leave Ginger with the boys every night, and Dan will sneak her in. Oh, she'll be good. She'll sleep on my side. I ain't worried about where she sleeps. She's so loud. When we first got her, she's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Now I had Yorkies for a long, long time, and then I had a pug. I had a Maltese. The Maltese and the Yorkies were all pretty much the same. My first Yorkie's name was Pepper, and that dog did not think she was a dog. Like, she didn't think she was a dog. She thought she was my baby. Dogs got on her nerves. She went everywhere with me. She just would sit and I would leave my purse next to the front door. And I always had a big old bag. I don't anymore. But I would carry, pretty good size bag. She'd go jump in it. And this was before I even had kids. I don't know why I had such a big purse. I mean, I do now. When you got kids, you take everything but the kitchen sink. Oh, we should play a game. What's the weirdest thing in your purse right now? But she would go everywhere. And my ex-husband was my little brother's soccer coach in middle school. And we took Pepper to the ball field. I mean, every practice, every game, Pepper would just go with me. If I went to mom's house, Pepper would go with me. And then at night, she'd come in there and jump in the bed. We'd say, "It's bedtime, Pepper, let's go to bed." And she would go get, this is so weird. We bought her so many dog toys, and she hated them all. Hated them all. But we got a Happy Meal toy from McDonald's or something. I used to collect the Beanie Babies like way back in the early 2000s, and I had an aunt that worked at the florist, and she always bought them for me. She's the one that started it. As they came out, she bought them. I had God only knows how many Beanie Babies back in the day. And whenever they would come out in the McDonald's Happy Meals, she would go buy them. Um, and so she brought them to the house when she had the whole set. And I guess she had thrown one in there that wasn't the Beanie Baby. They were all gone or whatever. And it was a piglet from Winnie the Pooh. It was about that tall, stuffed, but the very inside of it was wired. So, like, you could move his teeny tiny arms and his feet. Pepper loved it. She took over that thing. I was going to give it to one of the little girls that I babysat or whatever, but Pepper got it. Like, it was in my purse. She got it. And when she would eat, she would go pick up her piglet, take it in the kitchen, lay it down next to her bowl, and eat. And when she got done, she'd pick up Piglet and go back to whatever she was doing. Piglet went everywhere. She had that, she didn't chew it. She would just lay her little head on it. Like, it just was like a stuffed animal to her. She didn't chew it, she didn't shake it, nothing. And so she would go get her Piglet at bedtime and say, "Go get Piglet." And she'd go get her little Piglet and she'd jump up in the bed. And she would lay in the dead center of the bed, flat on her back, on the pillow. She would put her head on a pillow and she would just wait. And then whenever you cover her, you would pull the covers up and she would flop her little paws over the covers. And she slept like that every night. And if my ex-husband rolled or got too much on her side, she would like lean sideways and she'd put her nails in his back until he moved. That dog knew better. I loved that little booger. But she didn't think she was a dog. She didn't like other dogs. She didn't go smell other dogs. She wasn't having it. Because a lot of people used to bring their dogs to the ball field or whatever. She wasn't having it. She just didn't think she was a dog. She didn't bark. She was a good little booger. I'd take 10 more of her. Boy, if I'd had the money, I'd have cloned her. I'd take her all the time. But anyway, I had a pug. We got a pug. That thing snored god awful. We didn't have it very long. We took it. It was an adult, and less than a year, it got cancer. We had to put her down. But she snored really bad, and so I thought, I'm not getting another dog that's flat, because I figured that's what it is. It's got to be why they snore so bad. So whenever we moved from Oregon back to Kentucky, I was like, I'm getting a dog. I need a dog. And so I wanted a corgi. But then I found out they were not lap dogs. They need a farm. And I mean, we were moving to a farm. But for some reason, I thought, I don't need that. I don't need a dog that's like, I got to go for a walk every 2 hours and running all over the place. So I looked at the AKC website and I started going through what kind of, they didn't want another Yorkie. And I found that Cavalier King Charles, and they're like, oh yeah, they're lap dogs. They are lazy as I'll get out. And I was like, that's what I need. That's what I need. They're dogs of royalty. They were bred for the kings and queens of England for years and years and years. And I thought, yep, that's what I need. So we got Ginger. She's a ruby red Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And that booger, I mean, she doesn't have, her muzzle's that big. She is the loudest dog I've ever had in my life. So right after we got her, we crate trained her. So after we got our house broken and crate trained, we let her start coming to bed. Dan did it. Dan did it. Dan did it. Brought her to bed. And one night she started snoring. I thought it was Dan. I woke him up and I said, roll over. I tried to go back to sleep, and it would be like 10 more minutes. And there the snoring would start again. And I would say, you're snoring again, roll over. I did it 3 times. And the 4th time, Dan said, it's not me. I'm awake. I'm not snoring. Ginger. It was Ginger. That dog, I'm telling you. But I woke him up 4 times. And he was just like, it's not me. And I'm like, it's got to be you. Oh, she's so loud. She used to sleep. When we first let her in the bed, she didn't know what to do, I guess. And so she would go lay at the top of Dan's head. He would lay flat on his stomach with his arms underneath the pillow and his head to one side. I mean, it's so weird. You'd think he was like wrapped up like a mummy and couldn't move. That's how he sleeps. And she would sit at the top of his head like a hat. So then he started putting her under the blankets because I complained about her snoring too loud. So now she gets in the bed and she'll dig until she can get up under a blanket somewhere. She'll lay on top of his legs and everything else. Oh, that dog. She's something else. Oh, goodness. Boy, we've talked about everything tonight. About crazy. Maybe she did think Piglet was a puppy. Pepper never did have puppies. We never bred her or anything like that. She was a lone puppy. Lone dog. Didn't get another one until she was gone. Oh gosh. This was a terrible idea. My stepmom got me. Have you guys seen the movie How to Lose a Guy in 7 Days? The dog in that movie is that hairless Chinese crested. They kind of look like little horses. You know what I'm talking about? I said something about, oh my God, I love that. She knew a dog breeder and he had one. But you want to talk about a finicky dog. These things will try to die on you left, right, and center. There's 2 kinds. There's hairless and powder puff. If you're gonna breed them, the mom has to be the powder puff because otherwise she can't whelp. All the puppies will die. If you want hairless puppies, you have to breed a powder puff and a hairless, and then you'll get a mixture. If you try to breed 2 hairless, they all die. But these dogs, even the powder puffs, all their teeth fall out when they whelp. First round of puppies, teeth fall out. So you have to be there when they have puppies to get them out of the sack and to cut the umbilical cord and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. So we had one. It was white. She bought it. Its aunt won the Westminster Dog Show like 3 years before or something. It's a very good bloodline dog. And I was like, I won't breed that sucker. because everybody, those puppies were really popular. Bad idea. Don't ever buy a dog because it's a fad thing on TV. They said, anyway, her name was Tinkerbell. She was awful. If you were cold, she was cold. We lived in Kentucky, in Louisville. Like, we got snow every year. It was cold. And so she had a whole freaking wardrobe. You'd have to put boots on her to go outside in the wintertime. You'd have to put sweaters on her. If you go out in the summertime, you have to put sunscreen on them. And you know how people look at you when you start putting beauty products on animals? She was awful. She was way too high maintenance. High maintenance. Anyway, she was crazy though. That was the worst dog I ever had. But they say Americans are awful about it. The Taco Bell Chihuahua, the Yo Quiero Taco Bell thing, they made everybody want Chihuahuas. That dog does not match any breed standard. It's a bad, I don't know how they got it, like trained it to be an actor. It's a bad example of a Chihuahua. But then everybody wanted one that looked like the Taco Bell dog, so bad breeders started breeding for that. Everybody goes and buys them, and then 6 months later or whatever, the pound is full of them, or people drop them off because the kid didn't take care of them. They didn't know what to expect. They don't want to train them, whatever. Same thing happened when they made the live action 101 Dalmatians movie. Everybody went nuts. Gotta have a Dalmatian. And then there got to be overcrowded. There was 101 Dalmatians at the pound. It was awful. So don't ever buy a dog because it was in a movie. There will be so many bad puppies 6 months after a movie comes out with one of them. They did it in Beethoven too, the big St. Bernard. There was a lot of really bad St. Bernards bred. That was back in the day when I used to breed AKC dogs. I had a lot of jobs, people. I was a Mary Kay lady. I was a preschool teacher. That was back in my dog breeding days in Louisville. Crazy. All right, guys. I've probably bored everybody to tears at this point. This was supposed to be my story about going to heaven, and now we're talking about badly bred dogs from TV. So, if you've made it to the end of this video, good job. I did not announce this because I want somebody really good to win it, but this live is going to be a giveaway. Not putting it in the title, not going to put it in the description. I didn't tweet it out and I didn't put it on Discord. I wanted to see who would show up after I've been gone for so dang long. So, there's a company, okay, y'all know I'm big into like beauty products. One thing I'm absolutely obsessed with is perfume. Expensive perfume. I'm a designer perfume snob. I'm very picky about perfume. I know a lot about perfume. So I found this website, and the company is called Dossier, Dossier. And what they make is perfume. They make men's cologne and women's perfume. This is perfume. It's not body spray. This is legitimate, expensive perfume. But they don't make knockoffs of expensive perfume. But if you go on their website, it's named after what it's made out of, what the top notes are. So they have woody cherry blossoms or floral ylang ylang. And if you read it, it will say, if you like this perfume, you will like this one because it has the same notes, but they spin it. They will add something, take something away. The notes will be not the same balance. You're not going to go in there and say, hey, that's Marc Jacobs Daisy. But you will think, that's close. Now, I love Tom Ford perfume. I do not want to pay $200 for half an ounce, okay? So, they just made, if you like Tom Ford's Black Orchid, dark orchid, black orchid, this is their version of it, okay? I think his is Black Orchid and this one is called Dark Orchid or Woody Orchid or Vanilla Orchid. That's what it is. There is no vanilla in the Tom Ford one. This one has vanilla and some other things in it too. I'm very floral. So I bought it. And I'm going to give it away. So I'm going to random number generator something, and I'm going to count the comments, and whatever number I get, the person who is that number. Y'all don't have to put a number in the comments, but you do want to type something. If you're here and you haven't said anything yet to be in the giveaway, that's what you got to do. I'm going to give it away tomorrow at midnight for Valentine's Day. It's women's perfume. It smells amazing. The bottles are so dang pretty. They're glass. They're round. I can't believe I didn't even bring it over here. Anyway, they all have silver lids. The lid is magnetic. So I take lids off perfume all the dang time, set them down, lose it. These are magnetic. They're very clean and modern looking. They don't look cheap. They don't smell cheap. They're not made out of cheap materials. These are legitimate, made in France perfumes or colognes, but they try to get close to really high dollar ones and put a spin on it. My very, very favorite one that I've gotten smells a version of Gabrielle by Chanel. It's so dang expensive. I do not buy Chanel because moral issues. I don't like the company. So I won't give them my money. So when I saw that they came out with Gabrielle Chanel, I got it. And it smells better than the original. It is amazing. When one of my teenage boys says, wow, that smells really good. You know it smells good because they're teenage boys and they don't say that kind of thing. I've gifted them to my mom because my mom is a designer perfume smuggler too. And she loves them. We wear different stuff though. She likes a lot of fruity citrus. All of her perfumes have citrus in them. She's worn Marc Jacobs Daisy forever. Long time. So I bought some that had citrus in them. When I wear any kind of perfume that has citrus, like yuzu, lemon, mandarin, grapefruit, especially grapefruit, it smells so bad on me. It does not smell the same. So I don't do it. But I got my mom 3 of them, and I didn't tell her what they were. I just let her smell them. And she was like, oh my God, that smells so good. And so I gave one to her, and I was like, ask me how much that was. So they're 2-ounce bottles, I think. Most perfume is usually an ounce or whatever. Some of them, you can get big bottles of like 1.7. Ralph Lauren went up to like 3 ounces back in the day. I don't think they actually do that anymore. But they're beautiful. So I'm going to give it away. If you haven't said anything yet and you're watching this video, even if it's a replay, we're not live, say something in the comments or type in the live. I'm going to have a random number generator pick. Random comment generator. That's what it's called. I'm brain dead today. And I will do that at midnight tomorrow. So it'll be a Valentine's gift. And then I'll mail it out here. So one of you guys will have a new shiny perfume that smells amazing. But it's definitely a winter scent. It's got vanilla. It's not cheap vanilla. Do you know what I'm talking about? When they put vanilla in a lot of stuff, I'm like, that smells like a fake cake or something. You know what I mean? I'm really picky about vanilla. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to get off here and let you guys get back to your family. I don't know. You might be here because your husband's watching the Super Bowl and you're enjoying not. I don't know. Maybe you want to go watch Super Bowl commercials. I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl. I'm not watching the commercials. Don't care who's doing halftime. Not here. Not eating pizza or hot wings or Doritos. You know, I might watch the commercials. Actually, Tom Hiddleston did a Jaguar commercial for Super Bowl once, and I watched that over and over and over. Tom Hiddleston is my man. If I ever have to trade my husband in, it'll be for Tom Hiddleston. They kind of look alike, though. I'm lucky. So anyway, I'll let you guys get back to your families. Thanks for coming to listen to me talk about crazy whatever. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the comments. If you left a question, I will go back and read this. I always read everything. I'll answer it down in the thing if you ask me something or, whatever. So, I love you guys. The plan is to be back here next Sunday again, unless I get sick. I'm really going to try to get this wagon back on track on the road and out of the ditch. So, thanks for being my friend and being here and listening to me go on and cry and, whatever, complain about stuff. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I will go back and fill in the description box. If you're here and you're not on my Discord server, you should be. You can follow me on Twitter. You can add me on Facebook, whatever. I'll put all the links back in the description box. I just haven't done it this year. So, I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.